Now on the into the Steven Singer Studios, Marc Farzy with you on this fine Hugh's Day morning. That's right, Hugh Lamont Douglas III will be joining us coming up in just a little bit. Plenty to get to with you, most notably some Aaron Rodgers news. Not a report. Not a report. I want to get this out of the way. It's not a report from CBS Sports' Jason La Canfora that the Eagles are in pursuit of Aaron Rodgers. However, the speculation that's out there from Jason La Canfora is that he puts Aaron Rodgers on a list with two other teams, just two other teams, as the best case scenarios, the best fits for the 37-year-old quarterback, reigning MVP, three-time MVP in the National Football League, puts the Eagles right there as one of the best fits available for Aaron Rodgers. What's the most likely landing spots for him? He named 6, and he says that the Eagles are one of the top 3 places that Aaron Rodgers could land. So there's a lot of meat on the bone to talk about right there. We'll get to that in just a second. We got some Sixers conversation as they're going to be back on the hardwood tonight, taking on the Indiana Pacers. Look forward to seeing how that game plays out, even though it looks like Joel Embiid is not going to be playing as the Sixers wind down their season. And we also have a lot to get into when it comes to the Sixers and how they're approaching the last 3 games of this year, because this has been a big talking point for a lot of people and what the Sixers are going to be doing as this season winds down. Something else we're going to get into today. The Phillies are back in action tonight. They start a 3-game series with the Washington Nationals. This will be their first meeting with them, and they're in D.C. as part of this 9-game road trip. They just finished up the 3 games in Atlanta where they dropped 2 of 3. We talked a lot yesterday about how this needs to be a series where the Phillies bounce back. It's a very tightly wrapped division here in the NL East, but this is a series where you'd like to see the Phillies at least get the upper hand as they did when they took on the Mets earlier in the year and as they did when they took on the Braves earlier in the year. Get the upper hand now, and then we could all get upset about what the bullpen might do as the season goes on. But this is what I want to start with. And there's a lot of NFL news that we're going to get to today, both locally and nationally. The Aaron Rodgers situation is intriguing for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is it really does make you think about the commitment that the Eagles have made to Jalen Hurts. I had said earlier that this was, just a second ago, I had said that this was not a report from Jason La Canfora. It was speculation. Well, when I saw this speculation come out, it made me hearken back to the interview that Howie Roseman did last week. I believe it was a Sirius XM, where the headline in the story was that Howie Roseman finally commits to Jalen Hurts as the number 1 quarterback, sort of. So that made me want to listen to the interview, and that made me want to read a little bit more about it. All right, so I dipped into it a little. And really what I came away with was the only line in there that was a commitment to Jalen Hurts was that they want to see Jalen Hurts take the starting job and run with it. I'm sure they do, but that's still not a commitment to Jalen Hurts. Saying you want to see something is not saying it is. Saying you want something for Christmas doesn't mean you're going to get it. Same thing for your birthday. Not going to happen. It could be on your list. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have it. And I thought, man, why are people so desperate to hear the words, Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. He is QB number 1 on our depth chart. When in reality, if you get Aaron Rodgers, yeah, that would change things. And I had always made this comparison. When you would hear Nick Sirianni talk about it from the time he took over and Carson Wentz was still here to around the draft, that he wouldn't acknowledge who the starting quarterback was of this football team because it's all about competition. And I don't fault him for that. I don't fault him for that even a little bit. Good for him. And I like Jalen Hurts still taking the reins and trying to be like the number 1 quarterback on this team by taking guys from the roster and working out with them already. We showed you the pictures last week of him running practices with Dallas Goedert and Greg Ward from earlier in the offseason. You already saw Jalen Reagor out there with them. Like, all that's great. I love that. That's fine. But when you don't hear that from the coaching staff, when you don't hear that from the front office, is that really that big a deal? And to be honest with you, I don't think it is, because I think the plan is right now, and everyone is on board with this, the plan right now is that they go into the season with Jalen Hurts. That's the plan right now. But this is the difference between last year's coaching staff and this year's coaching staff. Doug Peterson would always use the term right now. This is what I've been telling you through the draft process, through this offseason. Doug Peterson would always use right now, Sam Bradford's our starting quarterback. Right now, Sam Bradford's our starter. Right now, Chase Daniel's our backup quarterback. Then the next thing you know, Teddy Bridgewater goes down. They trade Sam Bradford. Carson Wentz becomes your starting quarterback. We all know how that went down. The only difference is Doug Peterson would qualify everything with right now. This team isn't doing that. This team seems to be keeping their options open for everything. Whether that was Deshaun Watson before everything was really hitting the fan down there in Houston with whatever his alleged actions may be, or that's right now with Aaron Rodgers possibly available. I believe that the Eagles are keeping every option open when it comes to their quarterback for the upcoming season. Right now, their plan is for Jalen Hurts to be their starting quarterback. But if Green Bay is open to trading Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers somehow forces Green Bay's hand and becomes totally upset with the way they're running things in Green Bay, as he already seems to be, and he has an opportunity to pick where he wants to go, oh yeah, I wouldn't put it past the Eagles even a little bit to try to get Aaron Rodgers as their starting quarterback for probably the next 3, 4, maybe even 5 years in the NFL. He's 37 years old. He doesn't turn 38 until the end of December, so you'd have him for a full 37 years of age throughout the regular season at least, and into January with week 17, with the 17th game of the season, I should say. And you have to think about this. The Eagles, and this is probably why he is such a fit for a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, is because of the 3 first-round picks that the Eagles most likely would have after this year. So you think about the trade that went down most recently with a veteran quarterback, just a veteran quarterback, not even a 3-time reigning MVP of the NFL, but Matthew Stafford, for instance. That was 2 number 1s, a number 3, and a starting quarterback. So in essence, if the Eagles were going to do anything in the same stratosphere, it would involve most likely Jalen Hurts and 3 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. Now, Matthew Stafford's only 33 years old versus Aaron Rodgers, who's 37, but Matthew Stafford does not automatically make your team a Super Bowl contender, which is just as good as Aaron Rodgers is to make this team a Super Bowl contender. So are the Green Bay Packers, and we'll get into this more so with Hugh, are the Green Bay Packers a better football team in this fantasy world of each team had the quarterback of the same talent level and skill set? Yeah, Green Bay Packers are a hell of a lot better football team than Philadelphia Eagles if you just take that into account. But, man, Aaron Rodgers with a young receiving core still probably get 4, maybe 5 years out of him in the NFL. He apparently still wants to play. I know everyone wants to say, oh, he just wants to go host Jeopardy at this point. I'm not so sure. The thing is with Aaron Rodgers, as many MVPs as you have right now, he only has 1 Super Bowl to show for it, and that was 11 years ago. I think Aaron Rodgers wants to win at least another Super Bowl. It's great. And look, there's been great quarterbacks. I know Dan Marino, you could talk about all day long, and greatest quarterback didn't win, whatever. But Aaron Rodgers, I think, would like to win another Super Bowl. I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to just have 1 Super Bowl and 3 MVP trophies. I think he wants to have 2 Super Bowls at least, maybe even 3. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and tries to play like Tom Brady and tries to play 44, 45 years old and stays in the league that long, especially when he knows at the beginning of his career, he had 3 seasons that were basically thrown away because Brett Favre didn't want to retire. I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants to be in Green Bay. I don't think this is just something that's some negotiating ploy. He's going to get paid a crap ton of money to be there in Green Bay if he does end up staying there. But bottom line is I think he does want to move on. And if he wants to move on, I absolutely see the Eagles at least being in on the deal. And anytime you talk to anybody around the NFL, whether it be Adam Schefter, Jason La Canfora, for instance, Sal Paolantonio, whoever it might be, the Eagles are always in on deals. And we've talked about that throughout the entire draft process. We've talked about that with Howie Roseman in this front office really over the last couple of years. They're a team that other teams look to make a deal because they're always in on deals, whether it's just picking up the phone to kick the tires and see what's going on, or it's something on a grander scale, moving up in a draft, for instance, like they just did. I think the Eagles would be in on a deal for Aaron Rodgers, and I wouldn't put it past Howie Roseman and the Eagles to try to jump at the opportunity to add him to your team. Now, with that being said, again, it's all speculation. But if it really does start to hit the fan there in Green Bay and you start to get closer to the season, oh yeah, I would expect Howie Roseman and the Eagles to at least be on the phone and offer a mega kajunga huge deal to try to get Aaron Rodgers on this football team. So we will follow that as it develops. I did find it interesting that the Eagles still haven't said he's the number one guy because they're still weighing the market to see what else is out there. I still very much see, if you're a betting man, that you would absolutely bet on Jalen Hurts to be your starting quarterback when the season begins. It would take a lot to get Aaron Rodgers here, and if the Eagles want to pony up, it's going to be a hefty price tag, even for a 37-year-old quarterback. You look at some of the other guys. I was thinking about Peyton Manning, but he was a free agent signing. Tom Brady, obviously, was a free agent signing when he went to Tampa last year. So it's hard to find a good comparison, but the closest thing right now is the Matthew Stafford deal. And I think if you're trading for a 3-time MVP and the reigning MVP of the league, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to cost you a pretty penny, despite being 4 or 5 years older than Matthew Stafford. The Flyers season ended last night. Alain Vigneault addressed the media after the game, as he always does. And it was we'll let you hear from him a little bit later in the show, but it was just a very bland press conference. There was one thing that stuck out to me, and I was lucky enough to be on with our friend Hunter Brody, who was on the show yesterday, and Nasty Knuckles, the Nasty Knuckles boys, with Derek Settlemeyer and Riley Cote. We did a little, not just post-game report on last night's game. We did a I don't even want to say postseason. We did an after-the-season post-mortem. That's been the better way to put it, on our expectations going into the year, how drastically underachieving the Flyers were this year, why they were so underachieving this year, why they were so underwhelming this year. And we all went around towards the end of the show. We talked we did about 40 minutes of a post-mortem, and we all talked about our final thoughts. Like, what was the lasting thought of this season? And everyone was disappointed. The word I used was deflating. I felt like this season for the Flyers, and they wrapped up, 25, 23, and 8, I believe it was. They wrap up this season after I had great expectations after last year and how they played in the bubble and how they played just before shutdown and how Carter Hart played and how good the defense was and how your offense was coming along. And it seemed like Travis Konecny was really coming into his own after signing that big contract. It really felt like this team was going to click and something special was going to happen this year. And it really all started when they went into Pittsburgh for that 3-game series against the Penguins. And the Flyers ended up dropping 2 or 3 in that series. And then COVID hit them. And then as it went on, it felt like they couldn't put 2 wins together. They go in New York and they faced the Rangers and they got blown out 9-0. That was on March 17th, that game. And then in the very next game against the Islanders, they roar out of that game. I think they got out to a 3-goal lead. They're feeling great. And then they almost blew that game. And it was like at that point that I just felt like this Flyers team wasn't going to get close to the expectations that I had as the season went on. It didn't feel like the Flyers were going to be able to put anything together like we thought they were before the year. And then the problems just continued defensively. Your forwards weren't forechecking. Your defense wasn't taking anybody away from the crease. Turnovers galore, not winning the battles along the boards. All these like cliche hockey problems just did not go away. And there were different points in the season where you thought maybe they could salvage something when you saw Sam Moran come into the lineup and you saw he tried to inject some life and he got a game-winning goal from the point after all he had been through. Maybe those were the moments that he could have turned things around. But it was just never meant to be because you could never find consistent hockey from this team. The only thing they did consistently was bad starts, turnovers, and poor defense. Those are the only consistent things. And there was no goaltender on this team good enough this year to mask all the problems that they had. But I felt like it was deflating. It was a deflating year for Flyers hockey, and it was a deflating year for Flyers fans. We'll let you hear from Alain Vigneault because Alain Vigneault actually talked about the one person that everybody to a man last night, from the Nasty Knuckles crew to Brody to myself, they took as the number one positive from this season. For as doom and gloom as it was, there was one positive from this season, and we'll get to that just a little bit later in the program. Sixers tonight against the Pacers. They tip off in Indiana. Sixers have a couple of games left here in the season, 3 games left in the season, and one of them against Miami, who, by the way, I like tonight in our big bet segment. We'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. Celtics also took a big blow last night. Jaylen Brown done for the year. We'll get to that more in our morning rush. But Sixers right now find themselves in an interesting spot where they've wanted to test out more guys on the bench, and we got into this a lot yesterday. They want to test out more guys on the bench just to see their, how they're playing going into the postseason. They're going to get that opportunity tonight, as it looks like they could very well be without 3 starters. So we'll get into that a little bit more. Before we talk to our friend Hugh Douglas on this fine Hughes Day on the Zatos Investments guest line, I do want to tell you about my good friend at Steven Singer Jewelers. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia. Hopefully you took care of Mom on Mother's Day with Steven Singer's Gold Dip Roses, but Steven wants to let you know he can take care of you always when it comes to no haggle, perfect price every single time at Steven Singer Jewelers. He loves telling you that he's in the love business. That's what Steven likes to say because, quite frankly, he is in the love business. And he makes the experience of buying a diamond better and better. He makes it fun. Steven, the first thing he likes to do is set it at the perfect price every single time, so you don't have to worry about negotiating. You don't have to worry about haggling. You don't have to worry about being uncomfortable when you go in to buy the diamond and the piece of jewelry of your dreams. If you've ever wanted the best price, if you ever wanted that, make sure you go to Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Everything's guaranteed at the perfect price every day. You'll pay no more than the person sitting next to you, and here's a little insider tip. Most jewelers mark their merchandise way up just to mark it down right in front of you to make you feel like you're getting some kind of deal, like you're paying less. No. Get it at the perfect price every time at Steven Singer Jewelers because Steven Singer guarantees the perfect price all day, every day, 365 days a year. That's at Steven Singer Jewelers every single day. Makes the experience of buying a diamond so easy and so fun. Check it out. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philadelphia, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's get to our good friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III on this fine Hughes Day. Zatos Investments guest line. Of course, it's a Hughes Day, so welcome in Hugh Lamont Douglas III, number 53 for your Philadelphia Eagles. What's up, Hugh?
What's going on, Marc? Farzy? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent on this fine Hughes Day. Look, we got a lot to get to today. There's some rumors going around in the NFL about a current quarterback, a former quarterback, and how it involves the Eagles. And then, because you're down there in Atlanta and you're doing fine work for 92.9 The Game in Atlanta, I also want to be able to ask you about the Atlanta Braves just kicking the ass of the Phillies over the last 2 games of their 3-game series. So we got a lot to get to. Let me start with this. Aaron Rodgers to the Eagles. Your thoughts? Now, I say this. He's 37 years old. He'll be 38 in December.
And he's still
he's still balling. The reigning MVP. Quarterbacks nowadays, 41, 42, 43, 44. Tom Brady, whatever. So what would you make of the Eagles making a deal for Aaron Rodgers? And let's just say it would take them their 3 first-round picks they could have next year.
It'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun. Like I could imagine, like I'm trying to project myself into that locker room if I could still play, what it would be like to have an Aaron Rodgers in the locker room. That'd be fun. It'd be exciting. Definitely would be exciting. Instant leader of the team, instant street cred. I don't know how much more packed the vet Lincoln Financial Field could be. I don't know how much more packed it would be with him in there because it'd be filled to the gills. I can imagine every watering hole around the stadium would be packed. Chicken Pete's would be selling lobster pies out the yin yang. Shout out to my man Chicken Pete, Pete Cherokee, my man Pete. But yeah, it would be crazy, man. It would be a crazy time in Philadelphia. It really would.
Could you see your boy, your texting buddy, your fist bump buddy, Howie Roseman making a deal involving those possible 3 first-round picks to bring in Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know because Farzy, that's a lot to give up for a 37-year-old quarterback. Like, you put all your eggs into that basket, and it's nothing's guaranteed. But you're almost feeling like you're a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl. Now, you have to be realistic. Like, I saw the defense play last year in Philadelphia. They were a little porous. Fletcher Cox is a little bit older now. Brandon Graham, a little bit older. Love him to death. But, I mean, it's the nature of the beast. Man, that's a lot to give up for a run when I don't really think – are you in a position to make a run? Now, I know the NFC East, when you look at it, you could probably get out the division, make a nice run out. But when you look at the Seattle Seahawks, you got the Chicago Bears, got a still fairly young team, and they just got a young quarterback. Not saying that they're going to do a whole lot, but when you match up with everybody else, I don't know, man. That's a lot to give up. That's a lot to give up.
Personally, I'm with you in terms of, and I said this earlier, but I'm with you in terms of it's a lot to give up because that's obvious, but it's also at the same time, do you feel like this team is good enough to really compete, even with the reigning MVP of the league, with this young receiving core, with an offensive line that has a lot of question marks when it comes to health? Are the Green Bay Packers that much better? If the Packers and the Eagles had the same level of quarterback, are the Packers a lot better than the Eagles? Are the Eagles a lot better than? Yeah, see, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you.
A lot of questions. It would be fun to see him in the Eagles uniform. It definitely would be. Man, but you had to give up a lot to get him, though.
Yeah, again, it was Jason Lock. Yeah, it was Jason Lockenfora that was writing for CBSSports.com that said the Eagles are one of 6 teams that Aaron Rodgers could potentially go to. He was just looking for perfect fits. It's not a report. It's all speculation.
Yeah, fishing.
Yeah, fishing. Yeah, right, as you would call fishing. Here's what's not a report. Here's something that is happening. Tim Tebow back in the NFL, 1-year deal to play tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and his former Florida coach, Urban Meyer. Hugh Lamont Douglas III, what are your thoughts on this fine Hughes Day?
My first thought, as always, is God is good. I always go with that with Marc because I'm not about to hate on Tim Tebow because he has a relationship with Urban Meyer. But okay, let's talk about some facts.
Go for it.
Which I believe to be facts because I don't know for sure. Doing a little, was trying to look through the archives or whatever. Has Tim Tebow ever played tight end ever in his life?
No. And
to be allowed to play tight end on the highest level. Again, not hating on Tim Tebow because it's great to have friends. If you've never played tight end ever before in life, and now all of a sudden you wake up one day and say that you want to play tight end on the highest level, and you have been given the opportunity to do that, God bless you. Because I can only imagine as a defender, like to see Tim Tebow ass line up out there at tight end, trying to run routes, trying to run precise routes, trying to get off the line for that matter. I just think, dude, like I told my son this, when he woke up one day, Marc, in all his glory, and said, "Hey, Dad, I want to play football." At 14 or 15. And I'm like, Marc, I looked at him. Are you serious? And this is my son. And I said, son, listen, this ain't the sport that you just wake up one day and say, all of a sudden, I want to go out here and play against dudes that have been doing this their whole life or been trying to put themselves in the position to do this their whole life. Now, all due respect to Tim Tebow and his relationship, I don't see him being successful at tight end. And if he is, congratulations to him. But you got a lot of cats that are putting a lot of sweat, hours, work, blood, sweat, and tears into playing that position at the highest level. And for you just to be on your couch at 33 years old and just say, hey, you know what? I know people. I'm going to make a phone call. I'm going to go play tight end in the NFL. Hey, good luck. Good luck.
Okay. I'll follow up with this. Tim Tebow's batting average, and I just had to pull it up. I knew it was low, but I didn't know it was this low.
Is it below the Mendoza line?
It is not below the Mendoza line. He did career batting average. He did bat .223 in the New York Mets minor league system. Okay. Will Tim Tebow be a better tight end in the NFL than he was a hitter in minor league baseball?
I would say no. Listen, Marc, listen. I remember Shannon and Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless arguing about this, and Skip had the audacity to say that Tim Tebow would be a better tight end than Shannon Sharp, or better blocker. I think that's what he said, a better blocker. Bruh, let me tell you, because I've been in the trenches. I know a little bit about the trenches. I played
a little bit. Yeah, you know a little bit.
No, I know Tim Tebow is a guy that works out a lot. He's a guy that defied all odds when it comes to doing whatever he wanted to do in life, because people told him he wouldn't do it. It's a different animal playing in them trenches against grown-ass men who are going to be looking at you and probably are going to feel some kind of way that you're in their eyes maybe disrespecting the game. Now, you might not feel that heat in practice because they're your teammates. And, you're probably going to be practicing with a bunch of guys that are trying to make the squad. And I'm pretty sure they're going to put you in situations that are going to make you comfortable and everything like that. But when you get in preseason games and you got guys on the other side of you that have been doing this for a while, like playing linebacker and things like that, trying to make a team, it's going to be a different animal. It's going to be a different animal. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see him being successful in that situation. And let's not even talk about going up to make a pass and then taking that hit. Dude, if you're not used to being hit, and play, especially at the quarterback position, you're wearing that red jersey or whatever color jersey it is, that's the different color than everybody else, that signifies that you don't get hit. It's a different animal because you're getting touched every play when you play tight end. Somebody's putting their hand on you every play when you play tight end.
So you would file this under bad idea?
I would file this under Godspeed.
Okay, all right.
I'm just going off of the way that I would feel. I don't know how anybody else in the league is going to feel about this. But if it was me and I was in my prime and I'm playing against Tim Tebow, knowing that he played quarterback, knowing the disdain that I have for quarterbacks, I would make his day a very, very – I would just go out of my way to make his day a very, very miserable one. I mean, just because like playing in the trenches ain't no joke. And I would just, make sure that he knew that every play. Every chance that I got to line up against Tim Tebow, he would know that it's not as easy as he thinks it is.
And think about the incentive on top of that, not just, sending a message to Tim Tebow, but that's going to be the number one play on SportsCenter the next day. Tim Tebow trying to lay out a block and he gets leveled, or Tim Tebow trying to make a catch across the middle and he gets leveled. That's all over the place.
All respect due to Tim Tebow and what he's accomplished in life, what he's overcome in life. That's not where I'm going, but dog, like on some level, like you have to respect. Like you woke up one day, and I'm speculating, I don't know, but you said, okay, I want to play baseball. You got the opportunity to play. God bless you. Cannot be mad at that. Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. So now, you get another opportunity. You say, hey, you wake up one day and make a phone call. I want to play tight end and get a job. Just like that. Just like that. Because of who you know. I mean, I cannot be mad at anybody for that. Cannot be. But it's a little bit more to it than what you're making it out to be. You know?
No, I agree. I want to bounce back to something real quick before we get into baseball. We talked about the possible 3 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. And let me just get this out of the way. It's not happening. Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Philadelphia. No. However, to have fun with the debate, how much would you pay, right? Would you go first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers?
Maybe one.
Maybe one first-round pick. Would you go first-round pick and Jalen Hurts for Aaron Rodgers?
I would probably say that you would probably have to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers.
Mark, I better be damn near guaranteed to win a Super Bowl.
Well, put it this way. I think you're at least going to get those exciting seasons. We already said no to the 3 first-round picks. I would do it for 2 first-round picks because those would be most likely 3-4 years, maybe even 5 years with Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback, where you're always going to be in it to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's the overall X factor.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd go 2. I'd go 2 first-rounders.
Yeah, I probably would.
And then let's also remember Jalen Hurts ain't that expensive right now. Now, let me ask you this. The Phillies just lost 2 of 3 to the Atlanta Braves, and you, of course, are in the Atlanta market. What are the Braves fans, and I know there's not a lot of Braves fans, but what are the Braves fans saying about this series with the Phillies?
You know what? They were talking about, what was the pitcher's name? What was his last name? He got a Saturday night when he hit Acuna. Coonrod? Is it Coonrod?
Coonrod.
Is it Coonrod?
Coonrod.
Listen, never mind. Yeah. Because I didn't know if I was saying it wrong.
No, you're saying
Coonrod.
Yeah, Coonrod.
They were talking about like my co-host John Fricky is a diehard Braves fan.
Okay.
And he was adamant about there needs to be something done because the teams in the NL East are hitting Acuna, and I'm like, dude, he has been hit more than most people have in his career. Like it's like 332 games. He's been hit like 22 times or something like that. He's been hit a lot.
Okay.
But my stance was baseball needs to do something about that. Baseball needs to penalize the hitter. But I would say this: when I saw Coonrod hit him, it didn't look like he did it on purpose, and that was my whole thing. It didn't look like it was intentional. It looked like after he did it, he was upset. It looked like he was trying to get him off the plate. He was trying to back him up off the plate, and that's kind of what I saw. Ronald Acuna is a phenomenal player, 5-tool guy, and it's one of those situations where pick your poison. Do you walk him? You put him on base. You know he's going to try to steal one. So he's up so close on the base, you're trying to get him off the base. I get that. To be hit is unfortunate. He wants to retaliate. I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if you want them to retaliate, but there has to be something done. There has to be something done as far as that's concerned. But as far as winning, Marc Farzetta?
Yeah.
I know I took the long way to get there.
No. Well, let me just on that point. Let me just say on that point, I agree with you. I think the players have to police themselves in a way. Yeah. However, and maybe I'm just a little crazy. If you're going to be throwing at people, if you're trying to send a message by throwing at people, don't be surprised if one of these days just a guy takes a bat out to the mound and says, all right, you want to play with weapons?
That's what John said.
And really?
Yeah, he was like, he needs to charge the mound. And I'm like, dude, like, it's funny to me how people say that, but you might not be about that life. Like, everybody ain't about that life. Everybody ain't about that charge the mound life. You know what I mean? Because you might charge the wrong person and you might get exactly what you're looking for. I don't think Ronald Acuna is that guy.
Okay.
His get back is to crush one on you. You hit a home run or just be aggressive on the plates. But to your point, you gotta do something. And one of the suggestions were in Philadelphia, this is not me talking. I do a morning show, so we talk about these things. So this is not my suggestion. But it was like, hey, if you hit our guy, we're going after one of yours. The Chicago, remember back that in Untouchables? You take one of our guys with a bat, we get one of yours with a knife. You shoot one of our guys, we take one of yours. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, the Chicago way.
Yeah, no, I'm with the Phillies have been through their stuff as well. Bryce Harper got hit in the face. And then after that, Didi Gregorius took one, I believe it was in the ribs, and there was no retaliation until the Phillies were up a bunch of runs against the Cardinals in the next game in like the 8th or 9th inning. But I'm with you. These guys got to police themselves.
That's another thing. We were talking about that because I guess somebody got hit from the Phillies yesterday, and this happened Saturday. And they were like, that was retaliation. And John's like, no, it needs to be retaliation immediate. It needs to be immediate retribution. I'm like, dude, I don't think baseball players really about that life. I just don't.
No, I would agree with you on that. So, yeah, as far as the Braves taking 2 of 3 from the Phillies, and as far as the Braves taking the middle game of the 3-game set in dramatic fashion in 12 innings.
Yeah.
All right. What are the people of Atlanta saying about the Phillies right now?
Right now, we know the Phillies are probably – we were talking about it yesterday morning, and we were saying that it's probably going to come down in the NL to the Phillies, and it's probably going to be the Braves. Because when you talk about all the prognosticators at the beginning of the season said that this was going to be a tight division race.
Yes, of course.
And it's starting to look like that because right now, if I'm not mistaken, the Mets are in first place. Right now, the Mets are in first place. And
the Mets, yes.
And the Braves have the night off, so it's going to be one of those things where it's going to come down to the wire. No question about that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So is Atlanta feeling pretty confident right now, or are they more in the mindset of it's a long season?
That Freddie Freeman is starting to turn the corner because he was a little atrocious a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So he hit that big monster home run yesterday. So now it looks like Freddie's starting to turn the corner a little bit. And was it the pitcher
for the Phillies?
No, for the Braves. I can't pronounce his name.
Yona, the guy pitched yesterday.
Huascar. I'm killing that. I'm going 2 for 2 for name killing. Yeah, they excited about him. But we got Max Fried. He's getting healthy. We got Soroka. So we got some pitching, and then we just signed Shane Green. I'm saying we. No disrespect, Philly. No disrespect, Philly fans.
I get it.
I'm in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. There's no disrespect. I know somebody was on the Farzetta show like, how dare he? Who the hell is he?
We?
Hey, yeah. What do you mean by we? I'm just saying. I got to go where the bread is buttered. And if you come back, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm a flip-flop. But I stay loyal to my Eagles, though.
You're damn right you do.
Hey, my loyalty's up for grabs. But the Eagles, that's I can't be unloyal to the Eagles.
I have to ask you this. We always talk about, we've talked about many times, I should say, what you miss about Philadelphia.
Cheesesteaks?
Cheesesteaks, yes, of course. How about the Philadelphia accent? I don't know if you know this or not, or I should say, I don't know if you know this or not, but a lot of people are mocking the Philadelphia accent right now thanks to Kate Winslet and that new show or the new movie, whatever it is.
You talking about Mayor from Easttown?
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown, yeah.
Listen, I don't recall anybody sounding like they sound on that show. That's why when I found out it was in Pennsylvania, I'm like, because they kept saying the Schuylkill. It was like the Schuylkill, and I'm like, Easttown, where the hell? They don't talk like that. Not when I was in Philly. Like, I don't, I guess it's for the show. I guess that's a part of Pennsylvania I've never been in.
It is a very unique type. I don't even consider it necessarily the Philly accent, but I consider it more of a Delco accent.
Okay, Delaware County.
Got it.
Because see, it didn't sound like Philadelphia to me. Because didn't nobody say John? Didn't nobody use John? The one John. Didn't nobody say John? So I was like, that don't sound like Philadelphia to me.
Good enough. Hugh Lamont Douglas III. Always a pleasure catching up with you on a fine Hughes Day morning. Hugh, thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me. I love you.
Hugh Lamont Douglas III joining us on this fine Hughes Day on the Zatos Investments guest line.
Have a good one.
I do like in the chat that people always point out that he calls me Marc Farzetta. It's never Mark or Farzetta or Farzy. Marc Farzetta. If he throws in the middle name Albert, every once in a while, maybe. But that's, of course, as I've said before, is why I always go with Hugh Lamont Douglas III. We'll check in with more of you guys on our social media check-in coming up in just a second. We also have a poll question out there brought to you by our friends at Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com, which we'll touch on in just a second. But right now, I do want to make sure you check out our friends at Philadelphia Sports Nation. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering all your favorite teams across blogs and social media. Philadelphia Sports Nation. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now, let me tell you about Zatos Investments. Our good friend is at Zatos Investments, an up-and-coming luxury real estate and development company in the Philadelphia area. They design and develop top-of-the-line custom homes all around the city, ranging from small single-family rehabs to ground-up new construction townhomes and condo buildings. Zatos also works closely with their private investor base to provide them with substantial returns on their investment, ranging from 20 to 40%. Zatos Investments crushing the Philadelphia real estate game right now. To see some of their properties and also how you can invest with Zatos Investments, make sure you reach out to them at info@zatosinvestments.com or simply visit ZatosInvestments.com. We've also been telling you about our good friends at FanUp. If you've been following me on social media, I tell you about FanUp all the time. FanUp, make sure you go to the App Store, download the FanUp app, and let the games begin. Use the promo code FanUp and get 2,000 bonus points right out of the gate. I had a bet on there last night. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But the days of playing fantasy sports alone are over with FanUp. This is the app you can have the most fun with when it comes to gentlemen's bets, putting them in writing, trash talking as well. All the trash you like to talk with your friends when it comes to fantasy sports, you can do that as well on FanUp, right there on the app. The FanUp app, super fun, easy. You can enter some of their daily contests, their weekly prizes that they give away: Peloton bike, Louis Vuitton bag, a pair of Jordans, memorabilia, so much great stuff, because FanUp is the only place you can win brand prizes. Fill out your profile. They'll let you know what you're in the running for. I'm a DeWalt Tools guy. You know what? So I put that in my profile. Maybe I could compete for some fine DeWalt Tools in the not too distant future. Do an impression of a handyman every once in a while. Like I said, you can squat up with your friends. I'm doing it with my friends. It's a great time. Download the FanUp app in the App Store. Use promo code FanUp. We get 2,000 bonus points right out of the gate, ladies and gentlemen. How about the great people of Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com? I was texting with my buddy Tony Cavada, man that runs the place. He does a fantastic job. Make sure you follow Steak and Maine on all their social media to see the mouth-watering, succulent meals that they have at Steak and Maine. Also, check out steakandmaine.com for more information. In the heart of Northeast Maryland, whether you like to dine at a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that with an extensive, delicious, amazing wine list with also Cavada Cellars wines. Every day, they're open for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in the heart of Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com for more information. Now let's do our social media check-in, brought to you by the great people of Steak and Maine. First off, I want to make sure I get this in here because it's a great poll question that we threw out there, and it's a very basic one. Would you want the Eagles to pursue Aaron Rodgers? I feel like if the Eagles were to make a move and give up at least 2 first-round picks and give up Jalen Hurts, for instance, I feel like people's brains would just melt. Like, that's why I think because I'm not included in this. I don't need the Eagles to be like, Jalen Hurts is our starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts, take a knee as we knight you, our starting quarterback. I don't need that, all right? Like it's some ceremony they would have on the roller rink outside City Hall now. Yeah, in case you didn't know, there's a roller rink outside City Hall now. It's where the ice skating rink was. But anyway, I don't need that in my life. Maybe not until week 1 of the regular season. I really don't need it. But I do think people really want to just jump to that conclusion. And like, I'm not saying it's Vic versus Foles, or I'm not saying it's Wentz versus Foles even. It's the most obvious pick right now that Jalen Hurts is going to be your starting quarterback. That goes without saying. However, if they were to acquire another starting quarterback, if they were to acquire Aaron Rodgers, I feel like people's brains would just melt. Because I feel like they're just so fed up with even the conversation at this point of anyone other than Jalen Hurts being a starting quarterback that their heads would just explode. Like, it was almost like you made it through a scare almost in the draft, thinking, oh, Justin Fields is available. Are the Eagles going to go that direction? Mac Jones available. Are the Eagles going to go that direction? And they didn't. They probably the best vote of confidence. And by the way, our friend Mike K wrote a great piece on this for NJ.com. The best vote of confidence that they have given so far with Jalen Hurts to be the starting quarterback was going out there and getting Devontae Smith, not getting Mac Jones, not going out there and getting Justin Fields. But if Aaron Rodgers does become available, I at least expect the Eagles to be kicking the tires because that's a big check they got to write. And when it comes to some of the cap space, that's going to be the most difficult part. But when it comes to actually writing the draft stock that you would have to get up, that check for whatever draft picks you'd have to give up, yeah, the Eagles got that. They have a plethora of picks to part from to get Aaron Rodgers if they really wanted to, which I think is why Jason La Canfora is at least tying the Eagles in his speculation. Not a report, but speculation. So the question we did ask people was, what would you be willing basically to give up for Aaron Rodgers? And it looks like right now a lot of people are in the school of not much. Should the Eagles go after Aaron Rodgers? 71% of our voting audience saying no. Yes or no question. 71% saying thanks, but no thanks. Don't go after Aaron Rodgers. Let's see what Maury is saying here as we continue to go through our social media check-in brought to you by the great people of Steak and Maine. Let's see. What do we have here? People checking in on this fine program this morning. Here for this, I assume that's the just the show. Good to have you, Brian. Thanks for being here. I think we need a quarterback controversy. That's Mac checking in. When don't we? Right? We can always use a quarterback controversy. It makes the people decide. Get off the fence. Mally's checking in saying good morning. As always, Mally, good morning, my friend. Matt's checking in saying Flyers, blah. I concur. More on the Flyers in our morning rush. Let's see. T-Bro checking in saying Farzy, Mally chat. It's going on on this fine Tuesday morning. Lots going on. John says he enjoyed our conversation last night with the good people of Nasty Knuckles and our friend Hunter Brody checking in last night when it came to the Flyers wrap-up. Marc Keith Farzetta? Matt, I don't get that, but good morning to you. Oh, is that because of the Hugh Lamont Douglas thing? Middle name definitely not Keith. Like Albert, like I said. Mally, what's up? Brett's checking in. Yeah, Brett, he definitely calls me Marc Farzetta every time. April's checking in. No one would complain if Aaron Rodgers was our quarterback. April Futches, I think. Welcome in once again. No one would complain. He literally literally when it would be difficult with the cap. And that's the most difficult. Here's what I don't like doing. I don't like pretending that I know how the cap works in the NFL because there's like 30 people that know how the cap works in the NFL, and they're all working in the NFL. Like those guys, they can manipulate the cap. They can find loopholes, and get money. Like you never know who's going to restructure. You never know who they're going to cut that they're feeling like, maybe this guy's on the way out. So when it comes to the cap number, it's something that can be manipulated like nobody's business. And a player can also be willing to manipulate their own number if it means they can go where they want to go. What else do we have? John's checking in saying the mayhem. Yeah, there's a lot of mayhem when you're talking about this. Stop being reasonable and thoughtful. T-Bro, you're absolutely right when it comes to everything with Aaron Rodgers and that cap. You're right. I'm not saying you're wrong with anything regarding the cap and Aaron Rodgers and what the number would be. $40 million, I think it would be. So, yeah, it's a lot of money. Jeff's checking in saying Tebow's a joke. You're not far off at all. What else do we have here? Mally's saying that Tebow sucks at anything with professional in front of it. I actually didn't mind Tim Tebow, the broadcaster, the college football analyst. I don't mind that, Tim Tebow. I didn't even mind baseball, Tim Tebow. I would love to play professional baseball and get paid for it. Obviously, he wasn't going to make the major league level, but bottom line, and he was a sub 200 hitter at the AAA level, by the way. And I will say this about Tim Tebow. Probably one of my most, and I don't believe it was a hot take, because as I like to say, it's not a hot take if you believe it. I remember when Ryan Howard was no longer on the Phillies. He had just freshly, not on the Phillies anymore. And I was trying to think, Tim Tebow was just entering his pro baseball career. Again, pro baseball, so that includes minor leagues. And I remember I threw out the question, who will hit more professional home runs from this point on in their careers? Tim Tebow or Ryan Howard? And man, people were pissed at me. But I honestly believe that Tim Tebow would go on to hit more professional home runs than Ryan Howard, because we all saw Ryan Howard, the way it ended here in Philadelphia, unfortunately. And he was done. He went out there, I think he played in the minor league system for the Rockies, if you remember. Played in the minor league system for the Braves as well. I remember a walk-off home run he hit when he was in the Rockies minor league system. But things didn't work out too well for him in the Braves minor league system. But I remember tweeting that out. And people were like, you just hate Ryan Howard. I love Ryan Howard. I treated Ryan Howard a lot better than some of y'all's people did towards the end of his career here in Philly. But, yeah, I remember taking a lot of heat for that. And I ended up being right that it was Tim Tebow that would hit more pro home runs than Ryan Howard from that point on. I never wanted to be more wrong in my life. What else do we have here? April checking in. Why don't we just add Joe Buck into the mix with A-Rod and Tim Tebow? Okay, you might take this as a hot take as well. I like Joe Buck. I think Joe Buck does a great broadcast. And I like that Joe Buck really embraces the fact that he's a national announcer, so everybody thinks that he hates their team. And I'm not sure. Maybe I can confirm this in like 2 seconds here. I'm pretty sure in the wide world of the internet, Joe Buck, at least for the longest time, had relaxed Philadelphia, I don't hate your team, as part of his Twitter profile. He no longer does. He just says, you don't know me, but you can. He says, you don't know me, but you can if you try my podcast. So you got that. He used to have for the longest time relax Philadelphia and Chicago. I don't hate your teams. I actually think Joe Buck does a great job. So and that's my God's honest opinion. It's not a hot take from me. Yeah, that's what we got for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for chiming in on our social media check-in, brought to you by the great people at Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Now let's move into our morning rush. Our morning rush is brought to you by Sky Motorcars and skymotorcars.com. We'll get back to Tim Tebow in a second. I don't want to just bombard you with Tim Tebow information. Sixers, no Joel Embiid tonight, most likely. He was on the injury report, listed as questionable right now, officially going into tonight's game, 8 o'clock tip-off, taking on the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. Sixers got 2 more games left on the road. Tonight in Indiana against the Pacers. Tomorrow in Miami against 2 days from now against the Heat in Miami. But I would assume Joel Embiid's not playing tonight. And Matisse Thybulle and Furkan Korkmaz also might not play tonight. They're actually listed as out already. So you're going to be down a couple of guys going into this game against the Pacers. And we all know that the Pacers right now are a train wreck in the season. To me, it's all about just stay healthy. You got 4 games left. You got 4 games left in the season. Just make sure you're healthy in a week. As the season winds down, that's the number one responsibility of this team. You're going to get one win between now and the end of the year. In these 4 games, you're going to win one of them. So you're going to solidify your number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. You got 1 game to do that right now. You're going to be fine. Just make sure everybody's healthy above all else. All right. If it even comes down to it and you got to give up, let's just say right now, you got to give up the number 1 seed. If it means I'm getting a healthy Joel Embiid, I'll take it. But I think you can get both without a problem. But Sixers, Pacers tonight, 8 o'clock. Sixers last I saw were at a -6.5 going into tonight's game. We'll see if that changes at all, if we get a confirmation as to whether or not Joel Embiid is going to play tonight. Alain Vigneault, I mentioned earlier in the show, we talked about Alain Vigneault last night during the post-mortem, during the after the season conversation that I had with the Nasty Knuckles boys and Hunter Brody last night after the game. And we said, what's the highlight of the season? If you had to, we've talked all about the negative stuff, and not even the negative stuff, but the real stuff about the Flyers. We talked about that. What's the lone bright spot from this year? Everybody to a man said Joel Farabee. And I was ecstatic that he got goals 19 and 20 last night. He's a 20-goal scorer. Love seeing that. 21 years old, has a lot to offer this team going forward. Alain Vigneault was asked two separate times in this post-game press conference about Joel Farabee, and this is some of the positive stuff that he talked about when it came to Farabee and what he brings to the table.
Well, he's a young player with a lot of potential, and I don't think that he's achieved his full potential yet. It's going to be on him to, have the right type of attitude, the right type of work ethic, the right type of commitment here moving forward to become the best player that he can be. And as an organization, as a team, we need him to fulfill that. He's proven that he can be an effective player, useful player, player that helps a team win. He can play 5-on-5 minutes. He can play power play, and he can kill penalties. So we need him to continue that progression.
Certainly a gushing. I mean, that's as close to gushing as you can get from Alain Vigneault talking about one of his younger players. Joel Farabee had a great year, and he was really one of the more consistent players for the Flyers this entire season. A lot of guys went through the ups and downs. I only remember a brief down spell where we're like, oh, man, Joel Farabee, is he going to be able to pull it back together? But really, him and Claude Giroux probably your most consistent players throughout the year, at least effort-wise. Claude Giroux, and by the way, sick pass last night using the skate. That was awesome last night. But Joel Farabee was the lone bright spot as far as what can he give you next year? What's the one guy you're looking to build off of what he did this year? And that's Joel Farabee. I am looking forward to seeing Carter Hart bounce back next year. I think he will do that. I'm looking forward to see what this Flyers team does in the offseason. Because, man, Chuck Fletcher's going to have a lot to work out. And if you're looking at one player that won't be here next year, I think the one, oh, wow, they finally moved him, or wow, you're not going to have a Flyers team with this particular player. I think Jake Voracek has played his last game as a Philadelphia Flyer. I feel like it's gotten to a point where this team is in his own head. The city's in his head. I feel like he's got a lot of pressure on himself, and rightfully so. It's a big contract. I feel like he has underperformed vastly over the last couple of years, and I feel like he wants to change, or he needs to change the scenery. I feel like the Flyers need to change things up a little bit and bring in another veteran presence to hopefully be a goal scorer for this team. It's not going to be easy to give him up not give him up, but get rid of him in terms of packaging him with somebody like Allison, for instance. Maybe that's what it's going to take to move on from Jake Voracek. But it's a big cap number they're going to have to move on from Jake Voracek, and it's a big number, a number that's attached to him. I don't know if he ends up with Seattle, the Krakens, for instance. I don't know. But if you're asking me to make a bet on what notable Flyer does not return, my money's on Jake Voracek. Ghost is certainly another one that can be dangled out there. JVR is another one that could be dangled out there. But if you're asking me for my bet's on Jake Voracek that he's played his last game as a Philadelphia Flyer. So I know a lot of people that are upset with the way he's been playing recently. That's music to your ears. So Flyers, please bounce back next year. And if you follow the pattern, make the playoffs, miss a playoff, make the playoffs, miss a playoffs, like they're going to make the playoffs next year. So there's another optimistic thing you can look at. What else do we have here? Oh, all right. I saw this last night, and not that I want to dedicate my whole show to CBSSports.com, as I have with the Jason La Canfora speculation that's out there, But CBS Sports put this together. If you can see this, this is the CBSSports.com. The last time Tim Tebow played in the NFL, which was 2012, this is what it looked like. Robert Griffin III, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Adrian Peterson rushed for over 2,000 yards. Calvin Johnson, 1,964 receiving yards for the Lions. Joe Flacco was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Joe Flacco, of course, right now, backup quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's just to put it in perspective for you. I want to close our Morning Rush segment with this little piece of information. One of my favorite all-time ESPN personalities was Kenny Mayne. Kenny Mayne. Loved his style, loved his humor, loved that he had the type of job that I think if we had that job on SportsCenter, I think we'd all act that way. Like we would almost spike the football every single time with just how much fun we'd be having on SportsCenter, doing highlights, interviewing athletes and all that stuff. And Kenny Mayne has certainly been a big inspiration to me. Loved his style, loved his work ethic as well. I've joked before. I don't read. Well, joked. I've flat out told you I don't read many books. He's one of the books I actually read. And I remember I met him at the Kentucky Derby. I want to say in 2011. I met him at the Kentucky Derby, and it was just a situation where we happened to be standing in the same place for an extended period of time. And I just said, "Hey, Kenny, I got to tell you, man, by the way, I love the book." And he goes, "Oh, you're one of the people that paid for it. Thanks, buddy." And it was like one of those. And I go, "Well, I hate to tell you, I actually got it for free. It was a gift." And he goes, "Ah, damn it." But just could not have been a nicer guy. I think most people know this by now, especially in the Philadelphia market. He was the backup quarterback to Randall Cunningham when they were at UNLV. I really liked his style. I'm going to miss him on SportsCenter. I'm going to miss him on ESPN. I think everybody, no matter what your dream job is, enjoy it as much as Kenny Mayne enjoyed SportsCenter. That's for sure. So thanks to Kenny Mayne for as enjoyable as he was when it came to everything SportsCenter and broadcasting for the most part there. Great story when it comes to just how he got his job at ESPN. He was just peppering them with demo reels and all that stuff. And it's a great story how he got started there. It's definitely worth checking out. That's our Morning Rush segment brought to you by Sky Motorcars and SkyMotorcars.com. Big bets. Some of y'all told me I was crazy about taking the Warriors against the Jazz last night. I got the Warriors at plus 1.5, plus 2.5 going into last night's game. Steph Curry, what's happening, baby? Knocking down a three, as I knew you would. Anytime that game looked like the Jazz were going to take control, I knew Steph Curry had something special for him. And sure enough, the Warriors take care of business. They win my big bet last night. Thank you for doing that. The second I saw Jaylen Brown was going to miss the rest of the season, I started looking at the Celtics schedule. Sure enough, they play the Heat in back-to-back games here. They have the second game of that back-to-back tonight in Boston. I took the Heat at minus 1.5. I got him at tonight. So I like the Heat beating the Celtics. That's where my big bet's going tonight. Heat over the Celtics tonight at minus 1.5. So I like the Heat to be able to take care of business there. My thanks to Hugh Douglas III for joining us on this fine Tuesday. My thanks to everyone that joined in on our comments here, especially April, Dan Schwartz, what's happening? And who else do we have? A lot of great stuff from all you. Mally, as per usual. Matt, all you guys, great stuff. Like I said, as per usual. Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel as well as Twitch. Jim Hyden produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow morning as always. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.